Have you ever stared at a textbook, YouTube tutorial, or online course for hours only to realize you remember barely anything the next day? Or maybe you've wished you could pick up a new skill, a language, or even just retain more from that meeting at work, but no matter how hard you try, it feels like your brain's buffering. Trust me, you're not alone. In today's fast-paced world, the ability to learn quickly and remember what you learn isn't just a nice skill to have, it's a serious advantage. Whether you're trying to climb the career ladder, switch industries, start a side hustle, or just keep up with everything life throws at you, knowing how to absorb information like a sponge can completely change your game. Now here's something wild: the CIA, yes, the Central Intelligence Agency, trains its field agents to learn faster than the average person. We're talking foreign languages in weeks, complex systems in days, and reading people within seconds. No, it's not some secret serum or sci-fi gadget. It's real, science-backed techniques that you can use in your everyday life. And the best part? You don't need to be a spy to learn like one. So in this video, we're diving into how you can start training your brain to learn faster, remember longer, and focus deeper, just like a CIA operative. These techniques are practical, surprisingly simple, and designed for people like you who want to work smarter, not harder. Let's kick things off with something so basic, most people overlook it: mindset. The truth is, your brain isn't fixed. Intelligence isn't something you're born with and stuck with forever. What you believe about your ability to learn actually shapes how well you learn. CIA training begins by breaking down limiting beliefs. If you're telling yourself, "I'm bad at learning languages," or "I've never been good at studying," your brain follows that script. But shift the narrative: "I'm becoming a fast learner," and your brain starts looking for ways to prove it true. Think about it this way: when you go to the gym, you don't expect to bench press 200 pounds on day one. You know it takes consistency and the right technique. Learning is no different. The problem is, most people try to learn things by cramming or multitasking, both of which are mental junk food. But once you understand how your brain actually works, you can feed it the right fuel and see results fast. That brings us to a powerful trick called active recall. It's the opposite of rereading or passive watching. Let's say you're trying to learn a new concept, maybe something from a coding course, a book, or a sales strategy. Most people just highlight or reread notes. But spies are trained to close the book and try to recall what they just learned, out loud or in writing, as if they had to teach it. Why? Because every time your brain struggles to retrieve a piece of info, it's like doing a mental push-up. The more effort it takes, the stronger that memory becomes. You're not just memorizing, you're building brain muscle. You can try this right now. After watching this video, close your eyes and ask yourself, "What's one thing I remember?" Say it out loud. That tiny act of recall wires it deeper into your memory. Over time, this becomes second nature. If you start using active recall every time you study or watch something new, you'll remember more in half the time. Now, let's talk about something called spaced repetition. It's a tactic CIA agents use to lock in large amounts of information without burnout. Here's the idea: instead of trying to learn everything at once, you space out your study sessions and review material just before you're about to forget it. Sounds counterintuitive, right? But it works. There are even apps like Anki and Remnote that are built around this method, but you can do it low-tech too. Just make a flashcard or a short voice note and review it a day later, then 2 days later, then a week later. Each time, your memory gets sharper and the knowledge sticks longer. Imagine learning a new language this way. Instead of repeating hello and goodbye 50 times in one day, you'd hear it once today, once in 2 days, again in 4 days, and so on. It seems simple, and it is, but this method is exactly how spies master foreign languages under pressure. Let's pause for a second and think about how these techniques can fit into your everyday life. Maybe you're not preparing for a covert mission, but you are training for something: a promotion, a degree, a certification, a side business. The same tools that help elite agents master their fields can help you own yours. Whether it's remembering client names, picking up a new skill, or just learning faster than your peers, it all comes down to learning smarter. And don't worry if this feels like a lot, you're not meant to master it overnight. The key is repetition, intention, and a little curiosity. That's what turns an ordinary mind into an extraordinary one. Now that we've unlocked the secrets behind mindset, active recall, and spaced repetition, let's keep going. Because there's still so much more you can do to accelerate your learning, and you don't need spy glasses to do it. Now, let's dig even deeper into how your brain works best, and how you can unlock those high-performance learning zones without burning out or getting distracted. Because here's the thing, even with all the right strategies, if your mind is constantly bouncing between Instagram, email, and 10 open tabs, you're never really learning anything, just skimming the surface and hoping something sticks. That's why the next technique is so crucial. It's something called focused intervals, and it's one of the most underrated secrets of rapid learning. CIA operatives are trained to operate in bursts, short, high-efficiency sessions where the brain goes all in, followed by quick recovery periods. This mirrors what neuroscientists call the ultradian rhythm, which is your body's natural energy cycle. You can use it to your advantage. Here's how it works. Instead of studying for an hour straight, you set a timer for 25 minutes. During that time, no phones, no distractions, just one task, learning. When the timer's up, take a 5-minute break. Walk around. Stretch. Drink some water. Then do another 25-minute block. This method, also known as the Pomodoro technique, isn't just about being productive. It trains your brain to go deeper, faster, and with fewer energy leaks. It's like interval training for your mind. But here's what really makes it powerful. Those short breaks actually give your brain time to process what you just learned. It's not when you're staring at the screen that your brain makes connections. It's often in those in-between moments, when you're relaxed, even bored. Ever noticed how great ideas pop up in the shower or on a walk? That's your brain tying things together in the background. Another CIA-inspired tactic that's incredibly effective and kind of fun is visual association. Our brains aren't wired to remember abstract data. They're wired for stories, images, and emotion. That's why you can remember the plot of a movie from 5 years ago but not the details from last week's meeting. To speed learn anything, from new terminology to historical facts, try turning it into a vivid picture. Let's say you're trying to remember the word serendipity. Instead of repeating it like a robot, imagine you're walking down a street, trip over a coin, and bump into your future best friend. That's serendipity, an unexpected, happy accident. The crazier the image, the more your brain locks it in. Spies do this to memorize entire dossiers, and you can use it to remember anything, from work tasks to vocabulary. And if you really want to go full CIA mode, combine this with the memory palace technique. Picture a place you know well, like your apartment, your childhood home, or your favorite coffee shop. Now imagine walking through it and placing things you want to remember in different locations. Want to remember 5 steps in a process? Put step 1 in your kitchen, step 2 on your couch, step 3 in the bathroom. You get the idea. Then, when you need to recall it, just walk through your memory palace in your mind. It sounds quirky, but this is how competitive memory champions memorize decks of cards, numbers, and names in seconds. And it works. But let's not forget one of the biggest learning blockers for our generation, distraction. Between endless notifications, social media feeds, and constant multitasking, our focus is under attack. And if you're not focused, you're not learning, period. CIA agents train their attention like a muscle. They do exercises to tune out noise, spot patterns, and stay sharp under pressure. You don't need spy school to do the same. Start by protecting your learning time. Create what I like to call a focus bubble. That means phone on airplane mode, tabs closed, and a clear signal to your brain. This is deep work time. It doesn't have to be long. Even 20 minutes of real focus is better than 2 hours of distracted half learning. And if your mind still wanders? Try this. Before each session, ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Learning is emotional. When your brain knows why something is important, whether it's for your future career, your goals, or just proving something to yourself, it lights up. That emotional charge boosts memory, attention, and retention. Let's say you're trying to learn marketing, coding, or even just how to invest smarter. Don't treat it like homework. Connect it to a goal. This will help me start that side business. This gets me closer to freedom. That's the kind of motivation that sticks. And don't underestimate movement. The CIA knows that a moving body helps create a moving mind. Physical activity actually primes your brain for better learning. A quick walk before you study, or even standing while reviewing notes, can increase alertness and retention. So the next time you feel stuck, get up and move. You're not wasting time, you're preparing your brain to absorb more. So far, we've covered some powerful techniques: active recall, spaced repetition, focus intervals, visual association, and memory palaces. And we've tackled the importance of attention and emotional connection. But here's the secret sauce: it's not about doing all of this perfectly. It's about experimenting, finding what clicks, and trusting that your brain is more capable than you've ever imagined. If you've ever told yourself, "I'm not a fast learner," or "I'm not cut out for this," I want you to hear this loud and clear. That's not a fact. That's just a story, and you get to change it. Because learning, real learning, isn't about natural talent. It's about smart strategy, consistent practice, and a bit of curiosity. You've probably noticed by now that the real secret behind learning like a CIA spy isn't about cramming more into your brain, it's about working with your brain. And one of the most powerful, overlooked ways to do that is through teaching what you learn, even if no one's listening. Seriously, this one's huge. It's called the protégé effect. When you try to explain something out loud, to a friend, to a camera, or just to yourself in the mirror, your brain switches modes. You stop being a passive receiver of information and become an active processor. It forces you to connect the dots, organize your thoughts, and fill in the gaps. Let's say you just watched a video on how to read body language. Instead of just moving on to the next video, pause and imagine you have to explain it to your little cousin or your best friend who knows nothing about it. Suddenly, you realize where you're confident and where things still feel fuzzy. That's gold. That's exactly what helps you retain and understand things on a deeper level. And you don't even need an audience. You can grab a notebook and write down, "If I had to teach this in 3 minutes, what would I say?" It's simple, powerful, and totally free. Now here's another game-changing principle that CIA-level learners use all the time: strategic forgetting. I know, that sounds weird. Why would you want to forget anything? But think about it. Your brain has limited space for attention. If you're constantly stuffing it with random information, endless trivia, notifications, news overload, it's like trying to study in a messy room filled with noise. The best learners aren't the ones who remember everything. They're the ones who know what to ignore. So here's a powerful habit: regularly clear the clutter. That means unfollowing accounts that distract you, letting go of tabs you'll read later but never do, and even giving yourself permission to forget facts that aren't useful to you right now. It's not laziness, it's focus. When you create space, you give your brain room to breathe, to think, to learn deeply. This is something spies know well. In high-stakes missions, too much information can lead to confusion. The sharpest minds know how to zoom in on what matters and let the rest go. Now, let's talk about pattern recognition. This is one of the most underrated superpowers in learning fast. Once you start to notice how information is structured, how things are connected, you stop memorizing and start understanding. And when you understand something, you don't forget it. Spies train in this skill constantly. Whether it's reading people, picking up new languages, or analyzing behaviors, they learn to look for patterns, not isolated facts. You can do this too. The next time you're learning something new, maybe a new skill for your career, or something you're just curious about, start asking, what does this remind me of? Where have I seen this before? Suddenly, that coding concept clicks because it's just like solving a puzzle. That negotiation technique makes sense because it's like playing chess. You're connecting new knowledge to old knowledge, and that's where the magic happens. Your brain loves patterns. The more you feed it with links and relationships between ideas, the faster it learns and the longer it retains. And speaking of retention, here's a mindset shift that might surprise you. Speed learning isn't really about being fast. It's about being efficient. There's no prize for how quickly you finish a book if you forget everything by next week. The goal is depth. Use all these techniques, recall, association, teaching, focus, emotional connection, to really own what you're learning. Because once you understand something deeply, it sticks. You don't need to review it 100 times. You just know it. And that brings us to a final, powerful reminder: consistency beats intensity. Always. You don't need to lock yourself in a room and study for 6 hours to make progress. In fact, that usually backfires. You burn out, zone out, or give up. Instead, aim for small, focused sessions daily. 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, done with intention, will take you further than any marathon cramming session ever could. Think of your brain like a muscle. You wouldn't try to lift 200 pounds on your first day at the gym. You'd start light, build form, and stay consistent. Same with learning. The people who learn the fastest aren't the smartest, they're the most intentional. They show up. They stay curious. They trust the process. So wherever you are on your journey, whether you're picking up a new skill for work, trying to learn a language, studying for a certification, or just feeding your mind for fun, remember this. You don't need superpowers. You don't need to be a genius. You just need smart strategies, daily effort, and a little bit of belief in yourself. Your brain is more powerful than you think. You've got the tools. You've got the time. And now, you've got the know-how. So go ahead, use what you've learned here. Test it. Tweak it. Make it yours. And the next time someone says, "Wow, how did you learn that so fast?" just smile. You'll know the answer. Because you're not just learning. You're learning like a spy.